All right, ready?
Sure.
Hello and welcome into the Section 109 podcast from Studio Breezy. We're back. Matthew, we did not take a purposeful hiatus. Your schedule got busy and my schedule got busy, and I think everybody else was also busy. And so we just didn't podcast for a little while. But we're back. We have watched the Birmingham game. We have some news to talk about. Matthew, take us into it.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Just no introduction there. Cool.
No preamble. No, this is Matthew. This is Bobble Juan. This is Mix. This is Breezy. I mean, I could do all of those things, or I could just throw straight to you.
Do you need a sip of my coffee? Are you okay?
I need a striker and I need a six. But
there we go.
I got some thoughts on those, and we got some news on some of those things.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back. There have been, I think, 2 games now that we have not talked about. One of them was the 4-0 win over UMA, the UPSL team, the season ticket holders game.
Oh, we didn't talk about that, did we?
We did not talk about that.
Let's talk about that one before we talk about Birmingham. Then
there's not a lot to talk about.
There's a little bit.
There's
a little bit because there's a theme.
Well, so Jalen James scores a goal in like the second minute and then gets poked in the eye, or like,
I think from my understanding, I think
something.
when he was heading the ball, he hit his eye on somebody's head or somebody's shoulder or something. But in that is my understanding. In that sequence in which he scored, he got hit in the eye.
So and gets subbed off pretty much immediately after.
Yeah, I don't know if he plays any minutes after that. I think he goes to the side because he like celebrates a little bit. He's hurt. He goes to the side and then he really never comes back.
Just kind of never is back.
Which, by the way, is a theme of this preseason where we're being careful correctly with players, and like we've seen nobody really take any chances.
Yeah,
injury wise.
Exactly. I mean, he also did not play against. He didn't play against Birmingham as well. So. Later on in that game, that game kind of follows
that's preseason's leading scorer, Jalen.
Correct. That game follows a lot of the other earlier games in the preseason that we've seen. Just tons of possession, no real opposition, and I'm including some of the pro team Tormenta in that category.
Is Tormenta a pro team?
Yeah. Ostensibly.
I mean, I know we put them on the TV the other night.
We did do that.
But with the powers of YouTube, like I'm not sure that they have to be a pro team to be on the TV.
Garcia Sosa got a deflected goal in the 15th minute from an assist from Tolley, believe it or not. And just kind of one of Tolley's, he's been doing a lot of line splitting passes in preseason.
It's been fun.
And Luis just turned and fired and knocked it off a guy's back or something like that. We had a trialist goal in the 44th minute. I believe from a cutback from Jesus. That's the same trialist that's been starting at the 9 pretty much all preseason for us.
Very, very interested to see if he gets signed. And for anyone going, you probably won't hear this before the coaches thing, but I'm for sure asking about that tonight to the Chalk Talk coaches thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. We know who the guy is now because one of the players let slip who he was and where he was roughly from, and then we just put together the rest. So that's Pablo Torre. He's from North Texas. He played there the last couple of years.
He's been on trial here for like 6 weeks or whatever. If we hadn't figured out who he is by now, it's a problem with us.
Yeah, it's a problem for us for sure. He's good, but he's also super young. And like we don't know truthfully where we are with budget, with spots. So I imagine you going to the Chalk Talk event tonight as we record this will be very
recording on Tuesday would have been optimal after we asked some questions. But I want to talk about something you and I talked about briefly before the podcast, which is the number of players currently signed and the number of players we think we might sign.
Do you want to finish the game recaps first?
Yeah, but I want to put a pin in that to make sure we talk about that.
Yeah.
But yes, let's finish the game recaps.
So we had a few subs at halftime. Bunch of trialists. Ethan Corden was among the trialists at the time that made a second half appearance. He's since been signed.
Welcome back, Ethan Corden.
Welcome back, Ethan Corden, for his 3rd year. We saw Farid Sarsar's first minutes for the club.
How'd you feel like he looked?
Rusty, old, like he's been on the sidelines for a month waiting for his visa. And look, he was obviously better against Birmingham, and in his 45 minutes there, like
you look fine. You look good against Birmingham.
I'm not worried. Like You put a guy in for their first seconds of football in a while, he'll be fine. There's a reason why we're using a P1 on him,
And there's a reason that he only played 15 minutes into the game or whatever it was, because he needed to get some minutes, and those legs was pretty clear.
The 84th minute, there was the fourth goal to finish off the proceedings. That goal was scored by some child who is, I think, training with us until someone said he's training with us until he goes off to college in the fall. So that was pretty cool. Kind of a mazy, do it by himself.
He was fun. It was a good curling right-footed curler from the left side.
That's good stuff. So yeah, I mean, like,
what are the takeaways that we can take away from?
You can't. It's a UPSL team. They saw maybe 5% possession. Like, there's nothing you can take away.
I think there's a little something you can take away.
No, that's just purely a minute.
I think there's a little something you can take away. Here's what you can take away. This we may not be able to do this against better opponents, but if you take that game and the two before it, this team, Rod's team, is going to be very big on control again. And not just possession for possession's sake, but I mean like possession to try to draw you out a little bit. I'm not saying it worked, but like holding on to the ball. The center backs are more quick. Like the second year of Tolley is, you can tell he's already more comfortable, in my opinion, in this system. Everybody looks to be even more, maybe not more bought in. I feel like more bought in than they were at this point last year. I could be wrong with that. I might just be like, but I do think you're seeing a lot of possession and a lot of control of the game. Get the ball back and possess the ball, which I don't think we did as effectively in the preseason last year. Now we had a harder preseason. But I believe that's what we're going to see going forward. It's a lot of control, especially as we don't have our offensive players in yet, and the 9 that I was joking about at the beginning, which we can talk about. But until we get our offense, which has been injury ridden at the winger positions, and then we've been missing some midfielders and missing some forward, until we get everybody in, like, the one thing we have is control. And I wonder if these first 4 games we're not going to see just a ton of control. And by the way, I thought we saw some really good periods of control against Birmingham. Let's talk about Birmingham.
Let's talk about Birmingham then. So on paper, you look at the Birmingham game, and while we were actually not there, we both watched it at the same time.
I watched it on an iPad while in a pool. It's pretty sweet.
I watched it from a hotel room. Look, 3-0, not ideal. But
No.
I think you look at the 3 goals, a complete shoss of a ball from just absolutely nowhere.
It's not a shot. It's just a cross that happens to go in.
Yeah.
And it's an unbelievable hit, and like, credit to the kid who's clearly very talented. We watched a little bit of the Birmingham game the other night here as well, hanging out, and like, he was very good or they were talking about who I assume was him. The difference between the iPad and the TV are pretty big. So if Birmingham have 2 extremely talented youngsters, I apologize.
I thought it was the same guy.
I think it's got to be, realistically. I just say, like, I don't know his name. I don't know anything about him. But the really young kid in both games,
number 7, yeah,
he was electric in that game in the USL Championship. It's not surprising that he did some magic in our game. And by the way, I think we held him to less in our game than Phoenix held him to in a real.
If you think about it, you've got the shoss. There's a PK that's just stupid and needless in a 1-on-2 scenario. And then there, early on in the second half, there was just that quick big cross that isn't read terribly well.
So I think you immediately take out the cross goal. The reason it feels so bad is because they scored almost the same goal last year in the Open Cup.
Oh, that's not the reason it feels bad. The reason it feels bad is because it's 3 on the scoreboard. No,
I'm saying the reason that goal feels so bad. Like, that goal started out things, and it's like, oh, fuck, here we go again. And to me, the reason that one, like, you should just erase that, because we might concede one of those this year. That is a dog shit, not a real chance guy mishit a ball. It's like when a ball gets hit through the midfield or hit through a pile of people and it deflects off 4 players and trickles in. Like,
I see what you're saying now. You're saying why
we should just chalk it off and not even think about it.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that. I don't feel bad about this, to be very clear.
I did until I thought about it some more. Because I was like, here we fucking go again. And then I watched it on a replay 6 times, and he is looking down. He is trying to cross through 2 players. He is not even considering shooting a goal, and it happens to just like go up and over. And by the way, what a hit! Like,
I mean, what are you supposed to do?
What do you like? I'm not mad anymore.
That's why you play 28 games in a regular season because like weird shit will happen every now and then.
And maybe, hopefully, that's our one bullshit, like random one.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah, get it out of the way. So take that one out. The penalty is bad play.
Yeah, it's a pen.
It's bad play on our end. But like, do I think we're going to concede a bunch of penalties because we made a stupid challenge? I mean, I could be proven wrong on that, but I got no evidence to think we're going to.
I mean, we'll reasonably we'll concede about as many penalties as we did last year, which was a few.
Right.
Especially when you consider that a lot of our control-based play and some of our set pieces, at least so far in preseason, have led to these, like, you know, in hockey they call it like an odd man rush. These like big like, you know, counterattacking
Have
moments.
you been prepping for your Canada trip?
Yeah. These kind of big counterattacking moments. I mean, we saw that several times off of a corner kick where a ball did not beat the first man, and they happened to have the winger on the right side of the field that was just like ready to get on his horse and go. And now we're like, you know, we're running and they're running, and it's kind of like who's going to get there first. Like, we'll probably concede a couple penalties on the season in some weird scenarios. And that one really wasn't one of those things, but it was kind of a transition opportunity. And it's just bad. It's just bad defending.
Yep. But again, going back to, am I worried about the season because of that penalty? No, I'm not worried about anything. Like,
no, we had. I mean, look, honestly, we had more shots than they did. We had more shots and we had better shots. So
let's talk about the third goal, and then I want to talk about the lineup.
Okay.
Because I know this is the drum I've been beating since you and I talked about it. But so the third goal is, I wouldn't say worrying, but it's bad. Like, it's bad defending. It's a really good play from them, and it's something we have to be better on. It's a transition moment. It's an early cross. It's defenders switching off a little bit and getting beat. And there were a couple other plays where I felt like that also could have happened. They were just worse hit crosses, passes, plays. And I do think that is the only goal that at all worries me. And I don't mean worries me big, because Birmingham are good. And it's our first big test. But it does show, like, if we're going to play a high line, it is difficult. And a guy like Tolley, as an example, is a giant who is very good at cutting out balls, but he's not going to be as quick or as good at recovering. We didn't have our starters in at that point, so I don't know who could have or would have recovered potentially in another scenario, right? I don't know who could have or would have. I think that was a 65th minute, probably 70th minute. Do you remember?
I thought it was earlier than that.
I might be wrong. I think we'd already made a center back sub.
Yeah, we'd already made a center back sub for sure. That was Fareed came off at halftime.
Was Jesse still in?
Jesse was still in,
and Milo was still in.
Yes, I believe both of those. I thought the goal was pretty early in the second half.
Okay, so I'll revise it slightly, but still, we don't have our starting six. We don't have one of our starting center backs. We don't have our starting keeper in that exchange. So am I a little bit worried about an early good goal, an early taken good goal in the second half from a good team? Yeah, that's the kind of something that is a repeatable thing that could be an issue. I'm not super worried about it, but that's the goal I would focus on if I was thinking about, like, what does this mean for our season? Because the penalty is just a dumb individual mistake, and the shot cross thing doesn't fucking mean anything. It's bullshit. So, like, the rest of the game, then I want to look at, like, the rest of the game. We controlled portions. Birmingham controlled portions.
Yeah, as you'd expect.
I don't know that I would have expected us to control as many portions as we did. I felt like the first 20 minutes, I realized we conceded like the 18th, but the first like 17 to 20 minutes.
We controlled portions against Birmingham in the Open Cup game with objectively a worse group for us. Now, like, did Birmingham control the lion's share? And did we have to use our portions to like calm the game down a little bit? Yes.
In which game?
The Open Cup game.
The Open Cup game was not a worse group for us, number one. The other thing is they controlled 70% of that game. We had moments of control, but, like, Jean had a bunch of good saves.
A ton of good saves.
Richard was excellent. We were solid in that game. That was the only team all year to push us back and make us not bunker, but like...
No, we were pushed back for large portions of that game.
Pushed back, not bunkered. They're two different things.
Yeah.
We were pushed back and playing deep and trying to, but we weren't like just sitting in and leaving with two players. Like, we were attempting to get out and possess and do whatever else in that Open Cup game. This game was not like that.
No.
We had much more control, many more even things, and outside of of those three goals, they essentially had one other good chance.
Yeah. Whereas I can think of like 4 chances that were pretty good for us, whether we skied the shot or the keeper we forced the keeper to make a good save. Like I really thought they didn't
make a ton of saves. 2 maybe.
Yeah, we mostly were off target with our shots, but I liked really for the first. It's one of those ironic things. Like take the UPSL team out, right? Like whatever.
We've played a UPSL team, a college team, a Division 3 team, and a Division 2 team. The Division 3 and 2 team, you can take something out of. The other two, it's very difficult to take anything out of, other than, like I said, stylistically. Well, you and I have some tactical stuff we could talk about in those games, but we played in the same way all the games.
If you think about the Tormenta game, and yeah, that was 2 groups of 45, so keep that for what it is.
And our first preseason game, right? No, second. We had a closed
45 minutes against Knoxville, 51 minutes against Knoxville.
Fuck Knoxville.
So, like, you think about, the 2 groups of 45 against Tormenta. We created a couple little things, but not a ton, right? Everything else was really, really good, but we didn't actually create a ton of stuff. We created more stuff against Birmingham, easily our toughest opponent of preseason.
Yes, correct.
And for me, that's the really encouraging sign.
Yeah, it shows growth. It shows progress.
And it was creating stuff that is, I think, is replicable based on how the team wants to play. Are there gaps in the middle of the field? Can the center backs be in the quarterbacks, find those players, and can they create something from there, whether it's a shot for themselves or a pass for somebody else? That kind of stuff is going to be doable if there are gaps. Mm-hmm. We have not seen, except in rare occasions, we have not seen a ball get wide and then a cutback in the box materialize from a winger beating somebody.
We have seen it. We have seen the 1-2 in the box.
Just a couple of times.
We've seen the 1-2 in the box happen a little bit, but not with any regularity. And that will be a thing that we need. First of all, I saw a Knoxville bumper sticker the other day, and I wanted to give them a gesture, but I'm not a flip somebody off kind of thing, so I never figured out. I was in the interstate, so I wanted to I wasn't gonna be able to wave at them and tell them your bumper sticker sucks without it, so I just never figured it out. But I saw it and I was like, oh, I want to tell them something. But I wish they were in our league. They'd be such a good rival because they're so hateable. Yeah, it'd be so good. They're
the stars of League One.
They are the Michigan Stars of League One. They're not the Stars. Back to Birmingham, I want to talk about the lineup for a second. Okay. So I think you and I saw it a little fundamentally differently than other people do. Also, we weren't there, so we didn't have the emotion, the group emotion potentially because I've seen a little bit of the online discourse, and there's a lot of people feeling pretty negative. And I have been at games where I felt super negative about how we played,
and I had to wring your neck.
And you have yelled at me about we played fucking fine. Stop being an emotional baby. And that was you talking to me. I'm not saying everybody else is being emotional babies, to be clear. I tend to get really, really high or really, really low on games. And so some of those games, by the way, we never agreed on, right? Went back and watched, whatever else. Yeah, but a lot of those games I did watch later.
It's because I'm right.
I did go back and watch later and had a different opinion after cooling down, watching them, thinking about them. I think so. What I'm saying is I didn't get any of the emotional things from the stadium, right or wrong, like big moments, momentum, whatever else. I could only watch on an iPad. But from what I got from the iPad was we played solid. We didn't convert our chances. They absolutely converted and then some their chances. And then I went and looked at the lineup and thought about it a little bit. And here's where I'm really encouraged. Not even encouraged. I'm actually not encouraged by the game. I was.
To be clear, I was.
I'm not. I'm just neutral on the game. I'm not encouraged or discouraged. I saw some good things. I saw some bad things. But here's why I have almost no takeaways, even though we've already talked about having some thoughts on it. We are 6 or 7 projected starters away.
I knew you were going to say 7, and you shouldn't do that.
I'll say 7. So I'm just going to go through them. I'm not saying who I want to start necessarily, though I'm sure some of that might come through, but who I think we are projecting as a roster build to start. We haven't gotten super nerdy. We haven't done a season preview. I guess we'll do a season preview probably after week 1 of how we think the roster shakes out.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So I think right now the projected starter at goalkeeper is Jean-Antoine, with Michael Beretta backing up as the third. We've both said that hot take, Michael Beretta is signed as the third keeper, but he has the highest ceiling of any player on this team in any position. So I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up starting at some point during the year. I expect that in week 1, it'll probably be John Burke starting.
I would assume so.
And I am comfortable, to be honest with you, with either of John Burke or Jean-Antoine starting, and I'm excited about the potential of Michael Beretta, whatever happens with that. So I feel great about the goalkeeper position overall. But we didn't have our starting goalkeeper in that game, to be clear. I know I'm comfortable with those guys, but Jean-Antoine, that's a missing starter right now.
We played 245s.
That's a missing starter right now. So that's the first missing starter. Then I didn't even include left back, where I think it's currently an open competition. We've seen Milo start. We've seen JP start. They've both looked good all season. So I'm going to leave that and not even mention that, because I think we have our starter there. Just don't know who it is. Toley's your other nailed-in starter. At right center back, Duvon, who we've seen on some Instagram pictures, looks like he's in training. He was missing. So that's 2. That's your second starter missing. Duvon's hasn't played a minute of preseason ball that we know of, and certainly not in that Birmingham game.
I would also just clarify here. I think it's maybe to do what you're trying to do here, full justice. It's important to remember that Farid's probably going to start a bunch of games.
Yeah, and I'm not. This is not me dogging anybody. This is me saying we don't know what team we're going to be if these other personnel. This may be us, right? It is possible.
Well, we know it's not us because there was a signing that happened after the. But
game. I'm just saying, there's a lot of players that weren't available, so I don't know what we would have looked like. This is not me trashing players.
Yeah. Keep going.
So that's two potential starters missing. Then you go at right back. It was Jesse, so that's normal. Go to the 6. You and I both believed, and now we've been proven right, as Jude Arthur's been announced. We'll talk about him in a second. We believe we would go out and replace somebody, or replace Richard, rather, with somebody that was going to be a nailed-on starter. It is my belief that we went and got an international quality player out of Georgia, the Republic of Georgia. Because we expect that guy to sign and go straight into the starting lineup. Does that mean he's going to start week 1? Not necessarily. But when he's fit and ready, I expect that he will be a starter in Penn. That is my expectation. So there's your third missing, your 6. Even though we had a player that could be a starter, I don't believe that's the starter in that position, or at least one of them. So there's your 6. I believe one of the 10s, it was Luis and Alex. I believe one of those 10 spots is likely to be Callum. And certainly Callum wasn't there, so we don't know. But my expectation is Callum was signed as an international, our first club transfer that involved money, us paying out money. So I expect he will be a starter, or at least in that starting mix. So there's your 4th player. Taylor wasn't there. I expect Taylor is the leading candidate to start at left wing. So there's your 5th starter not starting. You can count Jesus at right wing, though I think, quite honestly, that position is open for interpretation. Also, he went out with injury, so if you want to just count for that, you can count it that way, but I would count that as my 6th starter. I realize that's the one Matthew and I disagree on, because he thinks Jesus is probably written in pen there. And then the 9 was missing. That's 7 players. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean none of the guys that played in those 7 positions won't play. Some of those guys Luis may end up being the starter all year. Who else did I mean, there's a bunch of guys in there. Farid may start half the season. Andres may start the whole season. But my point is, there's other players that would be in the mix to start that were unavailable. So there's 7 players that are either projected in my mind to be starters, or at least those positions are up in the air on who's going to start. And though there were 7 players at those positions that weren't available that I think may potentially be starters, if you have 4 players or 4 positions that are locked in starters, and then everybody else is kind of in flux, I find it hard to take any real takeaways away from that game, because we might be exactly who we were. We might be a lot better. And I don't know which of them we are, because we didn't have all of the players, so I don't know how they fit together. I don't know how can I judge that?
Yeah, and that's gonna be something really interesting to pay attention to in these first 4 games. You got Huntsville coming in on Saturday.
Ooh.
You've got the Open Cup on Tuesday.
Miami
United. You've got FC Cincinnati coming in on the following Saturday, and then we're away to New York City on the following Wednesday.
By the way, are we going to that?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but we still have tickets.
Yeah, we should figure that out.
No, we'll figure it out about 4 days beforehand.
Yeah, 4 days beforehand, indeed. So, if you look at those first 4 games, they happen in about 12 days total.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough.
It's going to be rough, and if you've got,
not that we're going to lose all of them, but that's going to be a challenging numbers-wise thing.
And we know Callum was not there for the Birmingham game. Now we do know he's in now. And he's in training now.
Love to see those
Duvon,
pictures.
Not available for the Birmingham game. Jude Arthur, not available for the Birmingham game. Wasn't even announced by then.
Mehdi, not available.
Mehdi was not available for the Birmingham game.
Don't believe he's here yet, as far as we can tell.
So right there, you've got 4 players, like 4 guys on P1s, internationals. It looks like all these contracts are 2 years plus an option.
Those are 4 guys that you and I both expect were signed to be starters.
You didn't bring in these guys not to have starting roles. Probably they'll have to earn it and get fit and get ready to go.
And listen, if somebody comes off, that's signed as a depth or a squad or just a rotation player comes in and beats them out, fuck yeah,
cool,
great. be the better player. But when doing roster building and roster construction and us thinking about how we want things to go, or not want things to go, we expect things to go.
Does that mean that everybody that's available is going to play against Huntsville?
No.
I just don't expect. It is unreasonable for me to ask, and I realize I'm not the coach here, but it's unreasonable for me to ask.
Thank God.
A guy who just arrived in the country on a Wednesday, don't know what kind of preseason they've had. Certainly they could be training on their own. They could be fit on their own, but it could be unreasonable to ask a guy like a midfielder, for example. Congrats, you've acclimated to. You're in the country on a Wednesday or on a Monday or whatever it is. You start training after the medical. You get 1 full week or a week and a half of training. Congrats, you're starting 90 minutes. And by the way, we have a game in 3 days.
I'll take it one step further. You and I saw a former CFC player on Saturday.
That's why we have depth.
And we asked, hey, you've been doing this a while. What's your read on a player coming in 1 week before, with 1 week of training before, a full week before they come in? Because we were trying to get an idea. Do you think Callum potentially could play? Do we think Duvon potentially could play? Do we think X, Y, or Z could play? And that player said, look, a center back, because you do less running a lot of times, depends on the player and on the system, whatever else, but maybe if they've been really fit all off season, they've been training really hard, maybe they've been in preseason with someone else staying fit, maybe a center back could go 90. He said a midfielder or a forward or a winger, I'd say 30 is probably what you could expect after a week of training. And then from there, he also said some guys take great care of themselves, so that 30 or that 60 is real, or that 90 if you're a center back or goalkeeper is there. But if you're not, if you didn't take good care of yourself, and it depends. I'm not putting I'm not casting any aspersions on anybody. But if some of those guys maybe for the last few weeks were rehabbing a minor injury or whatever else,
something for us to all consider as well, and we should make sure we talk about Jude Arthur here in a second.
Yes.
Something to consider is after Saturday's game, hopefully actually this week we'll know before Saturday's game, but we have an international window coming up. And I think the official window is the 18th to let the weekend's games finish. The 18th through the 26th or something. That's going to be relevant for us. And it's not been in I guess we had Darwin go on international duty after the regular season was over, the season was over, so it didn't matter. But we're likely looking at 1, maybe 2 call-ups.
So let's talk about who would potentially get called up.
Jesse Williams.
Who you and I both believe will get called up based on Trinidad and Tobago having called him up and played him recently.
Just recently. And this is a really big one for Trinidad and Tobago, because they've got, is it a 2-leg?
No, single.
Is it a single game?
Single elimination.
So they've got a single game with Canada to make...
Who is that with?
Canada.
Why are you saying it like you're Canadian?
Just to kid out myself. They have a single leg game for the Nations League semifinal.
Yeah, if they win, they go to the final.
But more importantly, if they win that game, they automatically get a spot in Copa America.
Yes.
The loser is out. The winner is in.
We talked about this a few podcasts ago. Who do you root for?
Yeah, we did talk about that,
and especially you against your home and native land.
That day is like it is upon us, and that's a massive opportunity for Jesse. It's a massive opportunity for Trinidad and Tobago. By the way, whoever wins that game opens up Copa America versus Argentina in Atlanta.
That's wild. So let's think about this then. Who else could get called up? So Jesse Williams can for sure get called up, and probably will. I know you said it on the podcast before, but just as a repeat, I believe that's why we signed Robert Screen early. That's why we got him in here early. I think that we've seen Jesse start essentially every game that we've been able to see, but Robert Screen has come in and played every, like we signed another professional. We didn't sign a first year. We didn't sign a college guy. We went and signed a guy that's going to have a high floor. And
I mean, the guy played like 85 games for Kentucky in his college career over 5 seasons. He was a regular off the bench for Forward Madison in his first year as a pro.
And so this isn't me saying he doesn't have a high ceiling when I say high floor, to be clear. I just mean we didn't go sign a college player that we go like taking a bet on. Like we signed a guy that's going to be ready to play week 1 if it's necessary. And it may be necessary week 2.
I mean, it legitimately might be some 4-squad rotation immediately.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about who else has caps. Toley. He's got caps from Moldova.
Toley's got a couple caps from Moldova.
What if he gets called in?
We have heard that that I think they were working on his visa or whatever his thing was, so that he could leave the country and go play for Moldova and come back and stuff like that.
So if that happens,
if
Toley
that
could
happens,
get called in.
that's the second one.
And then you're looking at Fareed, which is another reason you sign a player that can play immediately, because you're looking at another starter.
I was like, holy shit, is Fareed getting called in by Argentina?
I mean, I've seen this picture with Messi, so...
No, but here's actually another one to think about. Could be Jean-Antoine. Maybe not in this March window. But
it could happen.
If there's a summer, is the Gold Cup also happening this summer? Like, it happens every year, basically.
I don't remember.
No,
I don't think so. I think it's
Gold Cup's off years.
I think it's next summer.
So,
but 2 summers from now. 2 summers from now, I think. I don't fucking know.
If there's like an official Caribbean Cup or like something like that, you might see Jean-Antoine get a call from Haiti.
Yeah, it's true. I never thought about that. But yeah, it's very, very possible. Okay, out of the back line, I think that's kind of it for the back. But going forward past that, I believe Jude Arthur was an under 20 for Ghana.
He was an under 20 for Ghana.
Yes, it would be a big step up. Look, Ghana's got a good national team, but I just want to point out it's possible if he tears it up.
If he tears it up and gets bought by somebody, like he could be on the Ghana full radar. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, he could also get called in if he just plays really, really well and gets in somebody's. I'm not suggesting he's going to. I'm just saying it's possible. Yeah. Like he's the right age profile to potentially get a look at some point. And they could also call him in for a camp where they're trying to get we had the Camp Cupcake stuff where we always would call in all the domestic MLS players.
Right.
US. Like Ghana can do a version of that and call in a bunch of players. I'm not suggesting it's super likely. He hasn't played for the full national team, but it's not impossible. Past that, I don't think there's anybody else in the midfield that's likely to get called in for their national teams. Or super likely, rather. On the wings, I think we're in pretty good shape there as well. The striker position is interesting. I think that's a lot very similar to Jude, but he also played
U20 for Algeria.
Mehdi has played U20 for Algeria. It's unlikely, especially with how many players come out of the French youth system and later on in their career and then changed to Algeria, which I think he did, by the way, already. But I'm just pointing out, okay, so you have realistically, like you have Toley, Jesse, and then long shots are Jude and Mehdi, like, and then Jean-Antoine. Like those are your 5 players. Like if we have any one of those are all like projected starters. With any one, or especially if we get 2 of them at any point, like that's a really tough, thing to happen, especially if Jesse Williams goes and they make Copa America and he plays all summer. We're gonna be missing him for a hot minute. But also these are the things that hopefully our next chapter is, because hopefully we're signing players that are whatevers and playing regularly for those tournaments all over the world. Hopefully we're in the future signing guys who are full internationals for maybe not for the biggest country, because those biggest countries, but for smaller, Caribbean, Central American,
Absolutely.
Eastern European. Like hopefully we're getting guys that are full national teamers.
And hopefully the league is the league that we're in now that it allows us to have foreign players on professional visas. And as things in the system develops, hopefully it's viewed as a launching point for those types of players.
What did I say I wanted to put a pin in?
Jude Arthur.
Is that what it was?
No, there was something else, but we're talking about Jude Arthur now.
Yeah, we're talking about Jude Arthur now.
Numbers of players.
Yes. Okay, I just want to come back to that. I don't want to.
So let's talk about Jude. We'll go to numbers of players because I think that'll inform some of your conversation tonight. That
I got some questions
for Rod. So Jude Arthur, I'm going to read you the beginning of the press release.
Please.
CFC announced today it's completed the transfer of midfielder Jude Arthur.
This was not today, right?
No, this was Saturday morning, 11 a.m.
I was just making sure this wasn't updated today. It was something I didn't know about.
It completed the transfer of midfielder Jude Arthur from Georgian First Division side FC Samguralai.
Nice job.
Yeah. Transfer. That's number 2.
Transfer. That means terms are never fucking disclosed, which is annoying because it's fun when you get to know what the pay. But that means they paid some money for him.
Yeah.
Paid a transfer fee,
which almost certainly means that they like what they see. They think he can play, some amount of time here and get a return on that investment. That's why you would do it.
And look, every club in the world is a selling club outside of about 5 clubs.
Yeah.
So your 5 clubs are Manchester City, Manchester United, essentially those 2, Real Madrid, Barcelona,
and Atlanta United, because they make bad investments.
And Bayern Munich, I was going to say. Those are your 5. Those are your 5. I used to include PSG in that, but actually I think PSG, they're not a selling club, but PSG is not the destination club.
No.
So like those kind of are your 5 clubs like that truly don't have to sell to anybody. And outside of that, like your biggest and smaller clubs in every league in the world, starting from the top and going, I mean, look at Ajax, who is a historically massive club. They are absolutely a selling club. Borussia Dortmund, massive club. Absolutely. No, when I say a selling club, Liverpool, by the way, a selling club. And I don't mean that they're going to sell all of their players. What I mean is when a player can outgrow you in a good way. They can do the thing for you, hopefully win games, do good things, and then they can be sold on and there can be a monetary profit. They're not the end of the line. Manchester United does not make money selling players, except for the occasional youth player. In general, they spend money on players. Same way for Real Madrid. Barcelona has the Epic Academy, so they're a little different. Manchester City, for the most part, doesn't make money on selling young players. I know they sell the occasional young player, but normally these are teams that spend money to get players. We, in the ecosystem, are going to be a selling club to all over the world, including, hopefully, eventually MLS.
Yeah.
We need to be ready that when a guy, and hopefully somewhere in the future for our women's team as well, does really well for us, they can then move on to somewhere else, continue their career. And that brings an investment back into the club. And it also, so it allows us to be more sustainable. It allows us to be in a better position financially. And also on the field, hopefully makes us better because players that can take that chance, use us as a stepping stone in a positive way, use us as a path in their career, a stop in their career as they move up the ladder. Really good players are going to move, and we want them to move. We want some guys, of course, to make this their home forever, but also we want some really high potential guys. Like if Michael Beretta, as an example, starts for us, let's say next year, kills it for a season and gets bought by an MLS team after the season,
which not unheard of in MLS.
Yeah, and MLS is currently playing a bunch of. I've been watching, but not watching MLS, but watching the transfer news. They've been playing some MLS next pro players
regularly playing. Yeah,
and so I just want to prep people that may not have thought of that because in the past we really didn't sell anybody hardly. I mean, really at all. We did move some guys on to other places.
You've got the Ray Lee sale that we never got paid for, and.
Take them to FIFA claims court. Work for the court.
Put them.
Or take them to CAS.
We should put them on the fucking embargo list.
The problem is the amount of money it's for. It just wouldn't be worth the lawyer fees. But I think we should do it for spite. But yeah, this is a new dawn and a new era, and I think it's the also here's a possibility. Jesse Williams, they win. They go to the Copa America. He plays all summer. There's a chance he gets bought and plays 5 games here total.
Yeah.
Because he goes to Copa America, plays well, looks great. Another team goes, hey, we want this guy.
How often do we see guy have a breakout at an international tournament?
Bingo.
And that's the thing that gets the buying club to make a phone call. And
so I think people have to get used to the idea that everybody is for sale. Every contract is for sale. Every player, every coach is for sale for the right amount of money. And that's a positive thing. That is how reality works, and that is also how we will continue to be or become more sustainable financially as a club.
The economics of football.
And so we also then have to root for guys to have breakout seasons. And look, it's going to suck if Jesse Williams has a breakout and he gets bought in May or June or whatever.
We'll call it July.
Sure. Well, if he has a giant breakout and he's crushing it and he's a key to our team and he gets bought and then suddenly we're weaker, that's going to be a bummer.
I'll also remind, it will be a bummer, but like think about this. We don't have the North American game. Well, just the United States and Canada, actually.
Excuse me.
Just the United States and Canada
sorry.
play on the calendar that we do. Yes, Scandinavia does as well, and like the Ruskies or whatever. But like the majority of, and I guess some of South America, Argentina, Brazil.
We just don't play on the same calendar as Europe, is what you're trying to say.
Right, but like Europe is going to be a key player in terms of buying our guys, especially foreigners.
We hope.
So we need to be ready for the possibility of a guy crushing it at a tournament in June, in early July, and then getting sold in July so that he can go into preseason with a European team to be ready for their August regular season start. And because that's when the money is available more often than not.
And we also need to be prepared that in the offseason, which will work a little easier for us in roster building, that's when we'll sell guys to MLS. But most likely.
Let's move into the next thing we want to talk about here, because I think in order to mitigate losing a couple players at a time, we'll say, for international duty, and maybe one person getting bought, squad building numbers, total roster numbers are going to probably need to be a little bit different.
So I don't know if they do need to be different, but I'm wondering if they're going to be different, if that makes sense.
So we had 25 players in 2022 by the end of the season.
Take us through the count on that. You don't have to go midfield.
22 pros
there we go.
And 3 academy players. In 2023, it was the same. And now, granted, we had a bunch of injuries. I think we were going to carry a little bit smaller of a roster.
And then
we added in.
We added 2 guys, actually. We added Capizzucci, and we added
Capizzucci, we added Jesus Ibarra, and we added Gavin Castle pretty late in the.
Yeah, but Gavin Castle was an academy player, and I think you'll continue to see academy players get added when they're ready.
So you get 22 pros, and then 22 pros again. Right now.
Wait, do we have 20 last year before Capizzucci and before?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So right now, we're sitting on 22 pros. That includes a third goalkeeper, which we had 2 years ago with KG, Alec Reddington, and Nick Nelson until he moved on midseason.
And by the way, we've had a practice third goalkeeper. We had one last year, I found out, all season that's signed with Carolina Core, I think. But he was a college guy, so he was just practicing with the team. So
like they find their numbers and practice usually okay, but in terms of the actual like signed available for selection players, 22 pros after some additions later. We're at 22 pros right now.
Early.
With 3 goalkeepers, like signed pro goalkeepers.
And we're clearly missing some players.
Yeah, I mean, we're
missing a backup 9.
We'll just point it out. Backup
100% missing a backup 9.
Has to happen before Saturday. Because that player's probably starting. Whoever that is probably starting on Saturday.
Dios míos. I'm terrified.
That's just reality.
I get it. I'm scared. And then I think we're missing a winger spot. Numbers wise, and I don't think that's a guarantee, but I think there's you need a fifth player for 4 spots, for 2 spots. You have 2 and 2 right now.
I would add, if I could snap my fingers.
There we go.
I would add a winger, especially because we have some winger injuries this preseason. Jalen James, when he went out, he did not play against Birmingham. Taylor Gray got hurt against Tormenta. Hasn't played a minute in a game that I've seen yet since then. So you're already down a couple players. I would not be surprised if they go find a winger that can play the wing and can deputize at outside back. Because you're also looking at
international duty
which we just talked about.
Yeah. And if Jesse Williams goes, who's playing?
And you don't
who's the backup right back?
And you don't need. They don't need to be able to play right back game in, game out, but like you need somebody that can cover the position if Robert Screen gets hurt.
Bingo.
In a game where Jesse's on international duty. Now we signed Ethan Corrin. Can Ethan Corrin do that?
Let's talk about Ethan Corrin real quick.
Yeah, possibly.
Welcome back, Ethan Corrin.
So this is a guy who's played the 6, the 8, and center back.
Mostly center back and 6 for us.
he had a couple stretches at the end.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I think that Rod saw him last year as more of a center back, and then he got hurt all year. But I think he pencils as a different type, as a very much a tucking in type. But I think he's right now, as the roster currently sits, I think he's your third right back. Third right back, he's one of your backup sixes, is one of your backup eights, and one of your backup center backs, right? He's just he's the Colin Stripling. We talked a lot about Colin Stripling in the last few years with him filling in at all the positions.
Yeah.
Now, I think Colin Stripling, being a more experienced and longer tenured player, was starting level at more positions than Ethan Corrin currently is. Ethan, I haven't seen enough minutes of him playing against pros because he was hurt all year last year, but I think he has the same type of versatility, and he's much younger.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he could potentially be really important for minutes if we have an injury crisis because of his flexibility and his versatility. I am praying he doesn't have to play anywhere. I hope he can work his way into the lineup because if he has to play, I think he's basically third on the depth chart in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I assume, and these are questions that you will probably get answers to.
And also, he played a bit. He did play a bit in this preseason. We saw him quite a bit at center back and 6 and 8.
Before this podcast is released, you will actually likely have some answers.
Maybe.
Well, it depends on how much Rod wants to talk.
That's what I'm saying. It depends if there's because those emails didn't really go out. I don't know if there's going to be 10 of us or 500 of us.
They've been going out.
I never got it.
Okay,
and I saw other people who never got it. My point is
check your email.
I'm praying it's 10 of us, so I'll get more answers and more questions asked.
I mean, you'll just be asked to ask questions anyway. We all know this.
I don't know that I will be. I think there are more people checked in right now. We're going to find out.
So my point is we're sitting on the same number as we have been previously.
Yeah.
My guess is,
and I think we're clearly
knowing that we have to have at least one.
We have to have a backup 9. We don't have to. I think you and I believe we're going to because we've kept a guy in this entire preseason, so it's either going to be that guy or somebody else. But like, there's just no way we don't sign a backup 9. But there's a world in which
there's no way.
Jalen. If Jalen had started the last couple games or come in the second half the last couple games, or Taylor or whoever up top, like. You could see them trying it out, but Jalen's been unavailable due to injury. Taylor's been unavailable due to injury. So we haven't seen minutes played up top by anybody but the trialists. One of these trialists has to get signed. So then we're going to be at 23. You and I both think there's a winger spot on this roster, especially with Damian coming off a long-term injury, Taylor coming off a long-term injury.
Jalen hurt.
Jalen currently hurt, and Jesus having just gotten hurt. We've got to have another body in that rotation. We already signed the backup 6 that you and I both thought we would sign. But I think there's 2 more spots. That would take us to 24 pros plus 2 academy,
which is a departure.
Which is a big, actually a quite large departure.
And I wonder, it's possible like the move to MLS Next Pro has seen investment on the front office side. It's seen investment on the roster side.
Every week we're announcing a new person in the front office.
Yeah,
which is wonderful.
It's entirely possible that it's not just increased investment, but it's also increased roster spots in general.
Yeah, and look, last year was stressful as hell, and we had to go out and make essentially 2 signings: a guy off the practice squad and then a guy out of the TST. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're just being a little more aggressive with because really we're adding 4 spots from what we added last year on the pro side.
Yeah,
from what you and I are projecting at least. I can't wait to ask Rod about this tonight.
It's gonna be good.
But I think that they do not want to repeat last year's injury crisis.
No, and if you're already looking at one, we open with 4 games in 12 days. If we win the Open Cup game, then you're looking at adding a 5th game at day, we'll say 19 or 20, and then you get 10 more days until the next, until the 4th regular season.
So little mini season preview here. You and I are going to do a more in-depth roster and preview and something at some point. But
I'd like to know who we have.
It might be a week or 2 into the season. Just real talk. Okay, but a little mini season preview here. You've alluded to it, but let's break it down. There's likely to be 4 games in that first 12 days. You said
we definitely have 4 games in those first 12ish days.
Then, as it currently sits, let's say we lose that Open Cup game because there's nothing currently on the calendar. So let's say we lose that, and then nothing else happens. How long is the break before April 12th?
Oh, that's a good question. Is it April 12th?
I thought so. My phone is currently recording.
13.
April 13th. Okay.
So
my
we
background and shout out, by the way, we're on YouTube. If you're not watching this, would love you to watch it. Give us a like, subscribe, all the things. It's also, if you want to be in the Chattahooligans Slack, where you might find some sweet wallpapers and other things. Shoot us a DM. Shoot me a DM. Well, don't shoot me a DM. Shoot Matthew a DM because I'm not on the internet hardly. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram and I'll eventually get it, but I'll add you. But I have a sweet schedule background, so I am constantly closing all the apps on my phone so that I can look at my background to see the dates on stuff.
So we've got Wednesday, March 27 at New York City, and then Saturday, April 13 at home against Inter Miami.
So that's essentially a little more than 2 weeks between those. It's like
about 2.5 week gap.
So, and look, we may have an Open Cup game in there, but let's say that we don't, just as it currently sits. We're talking about all these internationals getting in now or getting in over the next week or two with Jude. Hopefully Jude and Mehdi are getting in here real soon. The guys these 4 games and then those 2, let's call them 2 weeks, even though it's really closer to 2.5. Let's just pretend that's 2 weeks. That 2 weeks, these 4 games are going to be the preseason for a lot of guys. That is going to be the preseason for the new arrivals to get bedded in. I believe it is not only likely, we're going to be a very different team, personnel-wise and starting lineup-wise. Yeah, I'm just going to say starting lineup-wise, personnel-wise. On that April 13 game from week 1. That is what, and that's also, by the way, essentially 1 month from the start of the season until the 2nd. That's the 16th to the 13th. So I think these first 4 games are going to be wild. We might be amazing and we might be dog shit, and it's neither one is going to be indicative necessarily of the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Because I just think that personnel is going to change a lot. And as you always like to say, personnel is policy, and we do not have the personnel currently to set all of that policy. And
see
how we're going to play
with those 4 games in 12 days. Like, you saw what happened when we played guys game after game after 3 games in a row on like a West Coast swing or something,
especially on the way Rod plays.
Right. Like, it's like we're going to have more rotation just because like some of these guys coming in are going to need to get their first 30 minutes probably off the bench. They're going to need to be able to go 60 minutes, maybe a game later or 2 games later, depending on how that works.
And Rod's style, I believe, is very mentally taxing.
It's a lot of decision making,
and it's also a good bit of running as well.
Yeah.
And especially this year, as we've seen more pressing in this preseason, though, again, personnel-wise, don't know how that's going to shake out. But I think, look, those first 4 games are going to be interesting, and we're going to review them, we're going to talk about them, and we're for sure going to make way too much out of them, I'm sure. But also, right now, as we sit, something to remember for myself, and I think you'll agree with this, those first 4 games do not make this season. Those first 4 games are going to be essentially our preseason. And I'm not saying they don't matter, because they matter for the standings, they matter for all the things in the world. But like, because our personnel is not yet set, and I don't mean just set like who's starting because they've solidified in the group and they've whatever. No, we just don't have them in camp yet.
Yeah,
we're getting them
now.
We're just now getting them in camp. So very, very, very interested to see. And then I'm sure during those weeks we will do a lot of thinking and wishing and hoping that things come together or that things continue, depending on how those weeks go.
Yeah.
Matthew, did we forget anything?
The only thing I want to add is got a little hot tip and was perusing on the website here, and I think the club,
are the links working?
What links?
All the club website links that don't work.
Well, this one's working. You've got.
For anyone that doesn't know, they migrated their site over to the MLS Next Pro platform, and it broke all the links.
All the old links. So there's a new thing here for theme nights for 2024.
What's a theme night?
I guess it's the theme of the night.
Is this like when we did like the May the 4th and shit?
I don't know. I'm going to go through. So we've got theme for this weekend against Huntsville is the next chapter. Theme for FC Cincinnati is women and girls in sports. The theme for the Inter Miami game is Made Here Night, presented by Southern Power Honda. we celebrate the companies and people who make things and design things right here in the Chattanooga area.
I bet you VW's gonna be involved in that one. Keep going.
You got Star Wars Night on May the 4th.
Yeah, let's fucking go.
You got the summer kickoff on May 25th, Memorial Day weekend.
This is some new marketing shit. This is good.
Kickin' Cancer Night on June 1.
Let's fucking go.
CFC kicks off National Cancer Survivor Month by celebrating cancer survivors and the caregivers.
What month is that?
June.
Okay.
You've got Y'all Means All Pride Night on June 22.
Oh, shit. Something we've been calling for a while. Let's fucking go.
You've got Military Appreciation Night on July 6th.
Okay. Oh, hell yeah.
4th of July weekend fireworks.
Support the troops.
You got...
So this is not every single night. This is like a lot of the home games, but not all the home games.
Yeah, I've not been tracking, but
no, you're okay. I'm just thinking through. Like, I don't think it's been every single. I think it's like the ones that. Okay, keep going. Sorry, I'm just hearing this now.
Worker Appreciation Night. CFC kicks off the Labor Day weekend by celebrating employees from all
Sweet. So
industries
we're doing a big labor protest, right?
have created Chattanooga's strength and prosperity.
You're not even going to bite on that one?
I'm not biting on that one, no. You've got Fan Appreciation Night on September the 8th. You've got Somos CFC Night, which is the beginning of Hispanic Heritage Month.
Let's fucking go.
Like we kind of did to close out last year. So that's where we are.
Look at that. I mean, I guess if you hire real marketing people, you have to give them something to do, right?
I guess so.
This is fun, though. I don't know what any of those mean. I mean, when I say that, like, I don't know truly what they're going to entail. Like, what kind of, like, I assume it's going to be a bunch of activations and whatever else. Like, with, like, anyway, those all seem fucking cool. And I did not expect or know about any of that. Because we, in past seasons, we have sporadically done, like, 2 or 3 a year, essentially, where it's like, oh, May the 4th, do something big. Or Hispanic Heritage Night, or whatever it was called. Do that. Like there was like some good ones, but like it wasn't a consistent thing, and that's a very consistent schedule. Yeah, and since it wasn't all the home games, they might add some.
Yeah, it's not definitely. Well, it was probably 7, 6, 8, something like that. I don't know.
We haven't talked about the jerseys.
Oh no, we haven't talked about the jerseys
because those. So, well, you and I were both gone.
So
when
let's
those got
end.
Released.
Let's end on the jerseys.
Let's end on the jerseys,
and then I'll have to go to work.
fucking. No, okay, I still haven't seen them in person. So I want to say that I have been wrong on jerseys many times, versus in person versus on the field, et cetera, et cetera. Meaning last year's white jersey I thought was the greatest jersey of all time, genuinely. And then I saw it on the field and it's still good, but it went from like God tier to like just really good because you couldn't quite see the lettering and like things were a little whatever. The black goalkeeper jersey stayed in that God tier status as an example.
Yeah.
Okay. So merch-wise, I'm going to back up a little bit. I do not like Adidas that much. Their jerseys are usually trash. This blue that you're wearing is wrong. That being said, everything they do that isn't the jersey, and I'm leading into the jersey, is really good. I'm mad your pullover's the wrong color, but like it is fucking sick. I've seen all the coaches' gear. We saw the coaches' gear at the women's tryout briefly. We saw some coaches' gear in other places. Like, it's fucking sick. It's really good. The jerseys. So I'm saying like I am very happy for what Adidas is doing outside of the jerseys. Now, the jerseys are not as bad as I expected. I have not seen them in person, so I'm reserving judgment. I may change my mind. I may like them more, and I also may like them less. But they're fine.
Yeah.
They're not good, but they're fine.
So here's
except the yellow goalkeeper. Which is not the right gold hue, but it is yellow, and that's fine with me. And I like the yellow goalkeeper. I haven't seen it on the field yet, but in general, I like it. It's good.
So, as I shared, leading up to Jersey Day, we knew they were going to be simple.
Yeah, it was always going to be.
We knew that there was not a full production cycle of time. So, job one, when you don't have a lot of time, is
don't miss.
Do something. Don't be a blue t-shirt and a white t-shirt like Huntsville, or a red t-shirt and a white t-shirt like Richmond. Calling them out right now.
I mean,
do something with it. You don't have to do something crazy, but just do something. And so what I like about these is they did something. So like the stripes design, cool, thin, awesome, great, whatever. I like that they're multiple colors. That's interesting. I don't necessarily love that it's the same design on both, though I get why.
It goes back to your simplicity argument.
So yeah,
they
exactly.
made one good one, and they're like, can we, or one like fine. They were
and
like,
historically,
mirror.
that is also something that we tend to do.
Yes, correct.
And like maybe I don't like that, but like that's something that we tend to do, especially given the short time frame for production, and especially on the design side of the production.
Yep.
So in that respect, I like them. I like also that the goalkeeper kits, which are both fucking stock, to be clear, stock design.
Correct. And I saw on camera in the Birmingham game, which few camera shots from the far side, interested to see what that looks like when they redo when they don't have the sun shining in. It's not, I hope not so fucking low, because it was rough. I saw some people in the supporter section in the light blue keeper kit. Several people have told me the light blue keeper kit is sick. I don't see it in those photos. I think it's bad. But then I'm genuinely reserving judgment, because when I see it in person, I might change my mind. But for now, that is not one that's high on my list.
So I like about
By the way, are you going to buy a jersey this year?
Yeah, I'll buy one.
I don't think I'm going to.
I will. What I like about these goalkeeper kits is that they're both stock from the like, this is the new 2024 design, specifically made for the Euros, for Copa America, for the Adidas countries. And then some club teams are using it in the United States. What I like about this is the goalkeeper kit is actually different. There are two different versions of that design. And I like that they're just not the same with different colors. I also really like, and it's been a very long time since we've been able to do this, but I like that it's a sky blue keeper. Like, that's a nice way of incorporating sky blue.
It's the wrong sky blue, though.
It's fine.
Looking at those pictures, all the fucking hues are wrong. Or not. I don't just mean hues, because I don't even know if that's the right term, but all the shading is wrong. It's the wrong fucking color. Except the white. I guess the white is white.
I think it's fine. I think the colors are fine.
I haven't seen them in person yet, but that annoys me. The gold is wrong. It's not the right yellow/gold.
We've never had the right. Are you kidding me?
The light blue is not the right light blue, according to the pictures at least. Maybe I'll see it in person and it'll be spot on. But regardless, like, I am
gold has always been a state of mind color for us. We've never used the right one. It's arguable the owner's gold jersey is the only one that's ever been like truly the right color.
So this is not the same. This light blue and this dark blue might be the similar color to the dark blue home. So I don't like the home that much. It's fine. It's just okay. I do like the white jersey in pictures. It looks good. The away, what I assume is the away. I'm going back to calling them away and home. I'm not listening to Jeremy.
Primary and secondary.
I think the away white looks the best of the jerseys, but I got to see them in person.
Although if you'll scroll on Instagram, it's the 2024 navy kit, the 2024 white kit, the 2024 goalkeeper kit, and the 2024 goalkeeper kit.
Those branding things make sense. I'm going to continue calling them home and away.
Yeah,
I don't care what you say. So yeah,
for a while.
I will say I am pleasantly surprised. All of that being said, I'm pleasantly surprised. They're fine. I hope we do a sick Pride kit, and then I will probably buy a kit. But I don't see myself, and I got to see him in person and see what we do and whatever else. But I bought between Christmas and asking for things, and then deciding like, shit, the kits are probably gonna be dog shit. What is still available, and going to Winder Binder and buying what was still available. I have all of them.
Is your kit budget pretty exhausted?
I didn't buy the blue and I didn't buy the white from last year, but I bought everything else. I bought the black keeper. No, that's not true. I bought the black keeper. I bought this, and I bought the Pride kit. I think I bought another one. Anyway, there's another one in there somewhere that I bought. Anyway, between Christmas and me buying them, yeah, my kit budget is probably spent for like the next 3 years. But it was worth it because last year's kits were bangers. But yeah, Matthew, thank you for joining me. Thank you for catching up. Listeners and viewers, sorry. Catch us up on YouTube. Give us the thumbs up in the comments, please. Give us your thoughts on the jerseys. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and good luck asking questions tonight.
Thank you. I've never run out of questions before, despite popular opinion that somebody said, like, are you going to be able to ask them more questions more questions? Are you going to be asked more be able to ask more questions than you asked Jeremy? And it's like, be able to is like, there was something like, there was an assumption there that I ran out of questions. I felt like that was implied. I didn't run out of questions.
You just stopped asking them.
I just felt bad at some point and stopped asking them. So we'll see. I think there'll be more people. I think there'll be more people to ask questions. I haven't made any lists, but believe me, if it's 10 of us, especially, boy, I'm gonna hit Ralph with a lot of questions. Listeners, viewers, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll catch up with you soon. Peace.